Okay, so picture this. You're texting away, just, casual stuff. Could be gossip, could be venting about work, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And bam, all those texts, literally every single one
Oh, no.
becomes public. And I don't just mean like the embarrassing autocorrects. I
Yeah.
mean like every private conversation, all the juicy details.
That is a nightmare.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that makes you think twice about hitting send.
It really does. And that's kind of what we're facing with this whole Salt Typhoon, cyber attack, and the FBI warning.
Right, exactly. This isn't some like far-off threat,
No.
This is hitting major companies, at&t, Verizon, T-Mobile,
Big names.
companies that, let's be real, we all probably use.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going deep today, looking specifically at this blog post
Club.
to figure out, like, what is this Salt Typhoon group?
Right.
How could it mess with our data?
Mm-hmm.
And the big question, what can we do to protect ourselves?
Because the fallout from this could be seriously bad.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, think about everything that goes through your phone.
Oh, I know.
Call logs, text messages.
Yeah.
Even what you say on those calls, potentially.
It's scary.
It's all up for grabs in this breach.
Whoa. Okay, so this blog post says that Salt Typhoon is thought to be like this super sophisticated
Yeah.
cyber espionage group,
Huh?
probably connected to the Chinese government.
Right.
What makes them so good at this? Like, how did they even pull this off?
Well, they got into the systems of these huge telecom companies, first of all.
I mean, yeah,
These are companies with, like, massive security.
yeah, you'd
The
think.
fact that Salt Typhoon got past that
Yeah.
says a lot about how advanced they are in their resources.
They're not messing around.
No, they're not just some kids in a basement. This is organized,
Yeah.
well-funded,
It's serious business.
very serious.
This blog keeps talking about encryption.
Yeah,
Like, that's the answer.
right.
But I think a lot of people are like, okay, what does that even mean? And
Yeah.
why does it matter now?
Okay, so imagine you put your message in a locked box, and only you and the person you're sending it to have the key. That's encryption, basically.
Makes sense.
So someone could grab the box, but all they see is gibberish without that key.
So that's why this blog is all about switching to those encrypted messaging apps.
Exactly.
Like Signal, WhatsApp, iMessage, right.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
And what's wild is this blog points out it's not just texts that are at risk.
Right.
Calls, photos, videos, it's everything.
It is.
So encryption isn't just about hiding your text conversations.
No.
It's about protecting your whole digital life.
Exactly. And this attack shows us just how much of our lives is on our phones.
Right.
And how vulnerable that data can be.
For sure.
This isn't just about privacy anymore. It's about, like, your whole identity, your security.
It's getting real.
This is not just a tech problem. This is a personal problem.
Okay, so encrypted messaging apps, gotta have them.
Yep.
What else does this blog recommend we do? There's a lot here.
One thing that often gets forgotten is updates.
Oh, updates.
Yeah, sounds simple.
Yeah, right.
But those updates usually have really important security fixes
Yep.
that literally close the holes that hackers like Salt Typhoon used to get in.
Oh, so like,
It's like leaving your front door unlocked.
oh, I've definitely been guilty of hitting that remind me later button.
Yeah, we've all been there.
But I'm seeing them differently now, for sure.
Yeah, you're basically asking for trouble if you don't update.
Speaking of things that make you vulnerable, this blog mentions phishing scams too.
Oh, yeah.
Those emails or texts trying to trick you into giving up your info.
Oh, those are the worst.
Phishing attempts just freak me out. I almost fell for one once.
Really?
It looked exactly like an email from my bank.
Oh, wow.
Thankfully, I checked the sender's address before clicking anything.
Good move, because Salt Typhoon could be doing that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Targeted phishing campaigns, especially for telecom customers.
So they could send an email that looks like it's from, like, Verizon?
Exactly. Asking you to verify your account details or something.
Ugh. So we're not just talking about those obvious spam emails anymore.
No, these can be really sneaky.
Any other tips for spotting these scams?
Always look closely at the sender's email or phone number.
Okay.
Look for any weird misspellings or anything that seems off.
Like even one letter off?
Even one letter. And remember, legit companies will never ask for sensitive stuff.
Like what?
Your password, social security number, that kind of thing.
Okay.
They won't ask for that over email or text.
So if it feels weird.
If it feels off, it probably is.
Got it. Trust your gut and don't click anything suspicious.
Exactly.
Okay. What about this two-factor authentication or 2FA?
Yeah.
I hear it all the time, but honestly, I'm still not totally sure what it is
Okay.
or why it matters so much in this situation.
Think of it like this. You're adding a deadbolt to your front door.
Okay.
It's that extra layer of security that makes it way harder for hackers.
Even if they have my password.
Even if they have your password. So say you're logging into your bank account. With 2FA, you put in your password like usual.
Right.
But then the bank sends a unique code to your phone. Or maybe they need a fingerprint scan.
Oh.
Or facial recognition, something like that.
Interesting.
And only then can you get into your account.
So even if they steal my password, they still can't get in without that second thing.
Exactly. Simple concept, but crazy effective.
Like, how effective are we talking?
Statistics show 2FA can block like 99.9% of automated attacks.
Wow, that's impressive. Makes you wonder why everyone isn't using it.
Right.
You know, this blog also talks about how important it is to tell our friends and family about all this security stuff.
It is important.
But I think people hesitate. Like, they don't want to be preachy.
I know what you mean.
But it's not about that, right?
No, it's about empowering them.
Okay.
You're sharing info that can help them stay safe online, which is getting more dangerous.
So it's more like, hey, did you hear about this crazy cyber attack?
Yeah, exactly.
It made me rethink my own online habits. Maybe we should all take a look at this stuff.
Exactly. It's about starting a conversation, looking out for each other.
It's like a digital neighborhood watch.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot here, but let's take a step back.
Okay.
What does this all mean in the big picture? We've talked about encrypted messaging, strong passwords,
Right.
being careful about phishing scams. Why should our listeners care about any of this?
Because this attack shows something really important about our digital lives.
Okay.
Our smartphones, they're like extensions of ourselves now.
They really are.
They have our conversations, photos, work stuff, finances.
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Everything. And all that data is valuable, not just to us, but to hackers too.
Yeah, for sure. And this blogger, they really got personal, talking about how this warning made them rethink their own texting habits.
I saw that.
How they've been putting convenience over security, maybe sending a few too many texts they shouldn't have.
I think we can all relate to that.
Oh, yeah.
We love how easy tech makes things, but there's a price for that sometimes.
Right. And as this blog says, security is non-negotiable in today's digital world.
Couldn't agree more.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's spot on. We have to prioritize security, even if it means things are a little less convenient.
It's like investing in a good home security system.
Exactly.
Might seem like a pain, but that peace of mind is priceless.
For sure.
So it's about finding that balance. And I think this deep dive into this specific blog post has given our listeners a lot to think about when it comes to that.
Definitely.
There's so much we can do to protect ourselves, but maybe the first step is just being aware of the risks.
That's a great point. Awareness is key. Once you understand the threats, you can start taking steps to deal with them.
And that's what we've tried to do today.
Absolutely. It really is. And the good news is you don't have to become like a cybersecurity expert overnight.
Right.
Even small changes can make a big difference.
So true. This blog post really breaks down those small changes, and one that stuck out to me was all the different encrypted messaging apps out there.
Right.
We've got Signal, WhatsApp, iMessage. They all seem pretty good.
Yeah.
Are there any key differences we should know about?
You're right. They're all good options, but yeah, each one has its own kind of quirks.
Okay.
Signal is often seen as the most secure of the bunch.
Interesting.
It's open source, so anyone can look at the code.
Oh, okay.
Which adds a layer of transparency and accountability.
I see.
Plus, it's totally free.
So points for security and for being free.
Exactly. What about WhatsApp? WhatsApp is super user-friendly, probably the most popular worldwide.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's on it.
A lot of people choose it just because, well, everyone they know is already using it.
It's easy.
Convenient, familiar, it gets the job done.
I've even heard people say, WhatsApp me instead of text me.
It's true. They have a huge user base.
What about iMessage then?
iMessage, well, it's built right into Apple devices.
Yeah.
So super convenient for iPhone users.
But there's a catch, isn't there? I feel like I read somewhere
There is.
that iMessage is only encrypted if you're messaging another iPhone.
You're exactly right. If you're texting someone with an Android, no encryption.
Oh, that's good to know.
Definitely something to keep in mind.
Okay, so we've got Signal, the security champ, WhatsApp, the popular one, and iMessage, the Apple special.
I like that. Good summary.
Sounds like they all have their pros and cons.
They do.
Which one do you use? I actually use all three.
Yeah.
It really depends who I'm talking to.
Makes sense.
For, super sensitive stuff, I always go with Signal.
Yeah, good call.
But for everyday chats with friends and family who are all on WhatsApp already,
Right.
I just use that. And iMessage is handy for quick things with other iPhone people.
So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Got to diversify that encrypted messaging portfolio.
I like it.
It's interesting, this blog post didn't go into a ton of detail about specific apps.
You're right.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe they wanted to keep the focus on the bigger idea,
Right.
the importance of encryption itself, rather than getting lost in the details of each app.
That makes sense. They're encouraging people to just make the switch
to
any encrypted app.
Exactly. That's the first step.
Which is huge.
Huge. The best app for you will depend on your needs, who you're talking to.
Right.
But the key is make the switch. Stop sending those unencrypted texts.
Yes. Speaking of vulnerable, let's circle back to those phishing scams.
Oh, yeah, those sneaky things.
We talked about them before, but any other red flags to watch out for?
Let me think. This blog mentions Salt Typhoon might even use spear phishing attacks.
Spear phishing? What's that?
Spear phishing is even worse than regular phishing because it's personalized.
Oh, no.
The attacker actually researches their target.
Whoa.
Gathers info from social media, stuff like that.
Creepy.
To create a message that seems super believable.
So, what would that even look like?
Imagine getting an email that looks like it's from your bank. Mentioning a recent transaction you made seems legit, right?
Yeah.
And then asking you to click a link to update your security info.
Oh, wow. See, that's scary because it sounds so real.
It does. How can we protect ourselves from that?
Yeah, good question.
Always be skeptical of emails or texts you weren't expecting, especially if they're asking for personal stuff.
Okay.
Don't click links or open attachments unless you're 100% sure who it's from.
Got it.
And if you have any doubts, contact the company directly, but don't use the contact info in the suspicious email. Go to their website or call them.
Oh, good point.
So it's all about being cautious, verifying everything.
We'll be checking, basically.
Exactly. And when it comes to online security, it's always better to be safe than sorry.
Well said.
Yeah.
Now, this blog post also talked a lot about two-factor authentication, 2FA.
Yeah, it's so important.
We mentioned how it adds an extra layer of security, but can you give us, a real-world example?
Sure. Let's say you're logging into your email account.
Okay.
With 2FA turned on. After you put in your password, you'll be asked for a special code sent to your phone or email.
Okay.
Or maybe they'll need you to use a fingerprint scanner or that facial recognition thing.
Right.
Only after you do that second step can you get in.
It's like having two locks on your door.
Exactly. Makes it much harder to break in. And the numbers are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
2FA can block something like 99.9% of those automated attacks.
Seriously. That's almost perfect.
It is. It shows how strong this simple thing can be.
Incredible. This blog post really hit home for me because it was so personal.
Yeah.
The writer talked about their own struggles with convenience versus security.
We all feel that.
It made it so relatable.
We all love how easy tech makes things, but sometimes there's a price.
Right. And this whole Salt Typhoon thing, it's a wake-up call.
It is big time.
We can't ignore this stuff anymore.
It's like we've been sleepwalking through this digital world, assuming everything's fine.
Yeah, just blindly trusting.
Exactly. And then this blog post comes along and shakes us awake,
Right, like, hey, pay attention. There are real threats out there. Protect yourself.
It's a powerful message, and I think it's getting through to people.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
We're seeing more and more people talking about digital security.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And this blog post is part of that conversation, getting people to take action.
And that's what we need, right?
Absolutely. We need to move beyond just knowing about it and actually do something.
This blog reminds us that we're not helpless.
Nope.
We can do things to protect our digital lives.
Exactly.
And those things don't have to be super complicated either.
Right.
Start by switching to an encrypted messaging app. Turn on 2FA for your accounts. Be extra careful about those phishing attempts.
All good steps.
These simple actions can make a huge difference.
They really can.
Well said. This blog post was awesome, informative, engaging.
Totally agree.
And most importantly, empowering.
I like that word, empowering.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we have control in this digital world.
Yeah.
We're not just along for the ride. We can actually do things to keep ourselves safe.
That's such a good point. We have the power to protect ourselves.
We do.
And this deep dive has given us the knowledge and the tools to do it.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, especially online.
So true. Well, I think it's safe to say we've really unpacked this blog post.
We have. We dug deep.
And found some great insights.
For sure. We covered the threat, the solutions, the big picture.
Yeah.
Hopefully our listeners feel informed and ready to take action.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, this blog post got me thinking about something.
Oh.
A question I think we should all ask ourselves.
Okay, what is it?
What information on your phone would you be most worried about if someone else got hold of it?
That's a good one. It makes you stop and really think about what's at risk.
Exactly. It's not just about losing data. It's about what could happen because of that.
Right.
Is it your financial stuff, your private conversations, photos and videos?
Yeah.
What would keep you up at night if that got out?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with. Let that guide your security choices. It really does. And it makes you realize, it's not just about some abstract data.
Right.
It's about the real stuff, our relationships, our money, our reputations.
All the things that matter.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's go over the main points again for everyone listening.
Yeah, good idea. We spent a lot of time on this blog post, and I think we've learned a lot.
I think so too. And the first thing is, this threat is real.
Oh, yeah.
This Salt Typhoon attack, it shows us just how vulnerable our digital lives are.
It's a wake-up call for sure.
Our data is valuable, and there are people out there who want it bad.
But the good news is we're not helpless, right?
Absolutely not. There are things we can do to protect ourselves.
Like what? Remind us again.
Switching to those encrypted messaging apps, that's huge.
Signal, WhatsApp, iMessage.
Exactly. Any of those. It puts you back in control of your conversations.
Okay, so only me and the person I'm texting can see what's said.
Exactly. And don't forget about updates.
Oh, right, those...
Keeping your phone and apps updated is so important.
Why is that again?
Those updates often have those security fixes. They close the gaps that hackers use.
Oh, right, like patching up the holes.
It's like locking your doors and windows. You wouldn't leave your house open. Right?
No, that would be crazy.
Same thing with your digital life. You got to protect it.
Makes sense. And then there's those phishing scams we talked about.
Ugh, those are sneaky.
Always got to be careful with emails and texts, especially if they're asking for personal info.
Be suspicious. Double check the sender. Hover over links before clicking.
Lots of double checking.
And if anything feels off, just don't do it.
Trust your gut.
Exactly. And don't forget about that two-factor authentication, the 2FA.
Oh, right, the extra lock.
It's like having a security guard at the door, that extra layer of protection.
This whole blog post really resonated with me. It was so personal.
I know what you mean.
The way the writer talked about their own struggles with convenience versus security.
It made it feel real, didn't it?
Yeah, like they were just being honest about their own habits.
We all want things to be easy, but sometimes we gotta prioritize security.
No more sleepwalking through the digital world, right?
We gotta be aware, we gotta take action.
This blog post really was a call to action.
It was, and a good one.
So to everyone listening, I urge you, take action today.
Don't wait for something bad to happen.
Download an encrypted messaging app. Turn on 2FA for your accounts. Update your devices.
Any of those things, just do something.
Make security a priority. Stay safe out there in the digital world.
Absolutely. And remember...
What's that?
Happy texting, but do it securely.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.